Welcome to the Varsity 845 Wrestling Podcast. This is the 2018 Eastern States Classic Edition. I'm Sal Interdonato, wrestling writer for Varsity 845 and the Times Howard Record. Here with Josh Conklin. You'll see Josh everywhere on the mat in New York State, shooting wrestling, high school, and even some college wrestling. Josh, it's another, can't believe another year's here for the Eastern States Classic, and you look at this weekend coming up. Let's get to some quick news off the bat. A returning Eastern States Classic champion and a state champion, Greg DiMacahalis. Help me out, Josh. Greg Diacomahalis will not be wrestling this weekend due to injury. So that's a little bit of a blow to the tournament. And also Alex Sampson of Victor, he placed 5th last year at 120 at the Eastern States. He is also not going to wrestle due to injury. We're waiting on the seeds for this tournament. Jeff Quilty, tournament director, probably gets emails every minute about adding a kid, dropping a kid not being able to wrestle due to injury and stuff. So we're going to break this down without knowing the seeds in the tournament, but we can give you guys a good idea about what's going to happen this weekend up at SUNY Sullivan in Loch Sheldrake. They dubbed this the premier high school tournament in New York State. And Josh, every year it doesn't disappoint with the matchups. It's basically it's almost like a state championship preview in some of these matchups, with the exception this year. Wyoming Seminary is going to be there this year, the number 4 team in the country. So they're bringing pretty much their A lineup this year. Last year, I believe they brought their B lineup. So that should make for a pretty interesting action this weekend, no doubt, right?
Yeah, no doubt. The Wyoming Seminary coming in kind of throws a wrench in things, with it being like the true New York State champion, but it's still going to be a fun tournament like it is every year.
Yeah, one guy that we'll note from Wyoming Seminary is Bo Bartlett. He's probably one of the best wrestlers in the country at his weight class. But let's just go through the weights, starting from the top to the bottom, from the lightweight to the heavyweight, and we'll break down 99 pounds real quick. I mean, this is a weight class that usually not last year, but usually in this tournament, you really don't know what you're getting there, because a lot of these guys are making their first appearance at Eastern States. I got to watch for Section 9 is Justin Morales of Middletown. He's one of the top 99 pounders in Section 9. And then you I've been impressed with Minisink Valley's 99 pounder Evan Hewitt. Hits his first varsity season. He's wrestled strong. He'll be in the mix too at 99 pounds. And you look at 106, Josh. There's a couple guys that return from last year at this weight. Terry Adams, Amon Senior Farrell. He was in the finals last year at 99 pounds. He's probably the top guy here for the tournament. And you got Dennis Robin of Arlington, who is a pretty good wrestler too. He finished 8th here last year at 99 pounds. What do you think of 106? Can we break that down a little bit?
Yeah, also on the D2 side of things, we have returning state champion and state finalists Anthony Noto and Jordan Titus, respectively. So Anthony Noto ranked, I believe, 15th in the country by flow. So that'll be another good one too, to see maybe another rematch of the state finals.
Yeah.
And you see Greg Fisher, returning section finalist from Newburgh, another kid to watch out for.
Yeah, good point with Greg. Greg wrestled at 113 last night at the Section 9 duels against Jordan Suarez. That was a pretty good match that Suarez won 8-0. But you're right, Fisher could be right in the mix. Before we go to 113, I just wanted to break down a little bit of the section at the Eastern States Classic, Josh. Still the last Section 9 champion, last Eastern States Classic champion from Section 9 is Chris Kukalo in 2013. So it's been a while. And then you look at coming into this tournament, the only Section 9 wrestler that's ever placed at the Eastern States tournament is Connor Griner. And that was 2 years ago, because Connor missed the tournament last year. And right now Connor heads into the Eastern States Classic weekend undefeated at 26-0 this year. So we'll talk about him in a little bit. But just wanted to give a quick his recent history of Section 9 and what they've done at the Eastern States. Last year, a couple guys didn't wrestle due to injury that probably would have placed no doubt, like a Kendall Elstrom, Ryan Farrow, and that. Just want to touch base on Section 9, and now we'll go to 113, and this is where Greg Diakomahalis Hollis will not wrestle, but, I mean, Dylan Ryder is a legit, he's a returning state champion. Josh, he won this tournament 2 years ago at 99 pounds. John Charles is a really solid wrestler for Central Valley Academy. Talk to me a little bit about 113.
Yeah, like you mentioned, John Charles, state champion, state finalist, took third last year here at 106. Dylan Ryder, returning two-time state finalist and state champion. And you got you got D2 wrestler Matt Garland took third. Just pretty top to bottom like lower weight class here. Another third place finisher Miles Griffin, fifth place Christian Gano, and all these wrestlers top to bottom here. Pretty solid weight class 113.
I look at 120, and that's just, to me, it's a ridiculous weight class. It's probably the most deepest in this tournament, with Adam Buciello and Zach Redding, teammates at Eastport South Manor, pretty much the top two guys. But then don't count out Anthony Scotto of Rocky Point. Ryan Jack, I believe, is a Connecticut state champion. He's in this weight class. Sal Jones of Long Island Lutheran, who placed at Eastern States last year. This is a pretty deep weight class, and this is probably where Marco Vespa ends up for Monroe-Woodbury, I would think, right?
Yeah, I believe so. And if you try to break down seeds real quick, maybe Marco and we get another round 3 of Marco Vespa, Anthony Scotto, and the quarters maybe a 5-4 seed. And like you mentioned, Zach Redding and Adam Buciello teammates going at it here. Yeah, I would say this is probably the most stacked weight class I've had to say here.
Yeah, we need to just rewind really quick at 113 and mention Monroe-Woodbury's Dylan Earl as a Section 9 contender there. Dylan is 22-1, returning section champ, returning state medalist, and Dylan's wrestled a really tough schedule so far this year. He's wrestled up a lot, and his only loss came to a New Jersey kid in a dual meet. So I mean, Dylan should be definitely mentioned at 113. Let's go into 126, and this is where Bo Bartlett of Wyoming Seminary will be the top seed. Orion Anderson from Schuylerville is he's a state champion, isn't he, Josh?
Yes, 2-time state champ, 3-time finalist.
Justin McDougall is a guy that we know a little bit about. I believe last year him and Marco Vespa had a little bit of a battle in the state tournament. He's from Niagara Wheatfield. He's in this weight class. Mickey Squires from Norwich placed at 106 last year at the Eastern States. What are we looking at for Section 9 here, Josh, at 126? I'm going over the weights here, and do we have anybody that can maybe possibly make some noise here?
Like you mentioned previously, Connor Griner is the only returning placer, I believe you said, and he didn't get to wrestle in the tournament last year, but he'll look to make some noise here.
I wonder where Connor wrestles in this tournament, if he wrestles at 26 or 32. I think 26 might be his postseason weight, but...
Yes, actually, I was mistaken. I'm seeing what's right now, 132 here.
Yeah, I would think he probably wrestles at 32. They probably enter Sean Savacool at 126, a sophomore Minnesink does, and then you look down a little bit, and I mean you see guys like Luke Fisher from Newburgh, and I'm looking at I guess Port will enter Carson Sauschuk at 26 possibly, right?
Yeah, he'll be wrestling 126 this weekend.
Yeah, so those will be the entries at 26. Bo Bartlett is nationally ranked. A junior, but I mean he won the Eastern States in 2015 and 2016. Like we said previously, Wyoming didn't send their A team to the tournament last year because they were wrestling Blair Academy the night before the Eastern States, or on Friday of the Eastern States last year. So he'll be the guy to beat. An Anderson Bartlett final would be an awesome match, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it really would be. But it would be a good final. I don't really see Nate feel touch for Bo Bartlett though. He's on a lower level in the competition.
Gotcha. 132, we'll mention Justin Vines of Wantagh. he'll probably be the top seed here. You have Luke Bakina, another Long Island kid from Mattituck that will probably get the 2 seed here, and this is where we think Connor Griner drops, and should be right in the mix to place it at this tournament, no doubt. And we'll see if he can make a run to the semifinals and possibly the finals. Vines did pretty well at the state tournament last year, right, Josh?
Yes, state champion, I believe.
Yeah, and he placed second here at 126 at the Eastern States. Just moves up a weight class. 138, you have, what do you know about Chris Gomez from Patchogue, Medford?
Chris Gomez, really tough wrestler. Southern County champion last year, and then took fourth in the state. He's pretty tough at Med.
And then you got Half Hollow Hills East, John Spadafora, who was 8th at 113 at Eastern States last year. He's going to be another tough kid. For Section 9, I guess we look at Don Vetrano, right, from Minnesink Valley as probably Section 9's best hope here at 138.
Yeah, I would say so, Don Vetrano, yeah. And then also, third in the state last year, Anthony Proctor in North Babylon. And then also, coming back down to 132 real fast, Wyoming Seminary sending number 10 in the country, Jack Davis. That's right.
Yep. Good point there with Jack Davis. Yeah, he's another solid wrestler here. I don't have him listed as a returning medalist at the Eastern States, but that he's legit too. Now 145, Frankie Gizendander. He's finally a senior, Josh. He's finally a senior. He's a 3-time Eastern States Classic champion. Favorite to win his 4th here. You look at the rest of the competition: Jack Bakina of Mattituck, Kyle Mosier of Southside, 2 Long Island kids. It's really going to be Frankie's weight class, no doubt, to win. You expect him to win the 4th Eastern States title, right?
Yeah. Bakina will give him a good battle, but I believe Frankie's on his way to the 4th title here.
Yeah, and then for Section 9, it'll be Vinny Vetrano from Minnesink will be a wrestler to watch for Section 9. Monroe-Woodbury will enter Carter Stewart likely at 145. That's pretty much Section 9's best chances there, and we'll go to 52. You look at 52, and Ja'Cory Teamer, right? I mean, he's multiple state champion, another 3-time Eastern States Classic champion, another kid who should win his 4th. But Matt Grippy in this weight class. Matt Grippy's a really tough wrestler, really experienced wrestler, a 2-time Eastern States Classic finalist. What would a matchup like that between Grippy and Teamer be like in the finals, Josh?
I think it'd be a pretty good matchup because it's kind of like 2 different styles. Is where like Grippy's just solid all around, and Teamer likes to wrestle a little bit of flair sometimes. So I think that'd be a fun matchup to see in the finals.
Yeah, and you got to mention Benny Baker, Wyoming Seminary, is also in this weight class at 152. And for Section 9, you have Tyler Serafini of Newburgh in this weight class. He's probably the top Section 9 wrestler entered in the weight. You know what? I wanted to go back to 145 real quick. We're doing a lot of retreating here. I apologize for that. I want to mention Cornwall Steven Gazzillo because he's had a really good season this year, Josh. He may be one of the most improved wrestlers in Section 9. He went out and beat Vinny Vetrano in the Section 9 duels in a quarterfinal, I believe, 4-2 earlier this week. He recorded his 100th win this season. Maybe he's a guy that can get to the medal stand for Section 9 at 145 this weekend.
Yeah, I totally agree. Solid wrestler there. And also, right down at 145, Roundout Valley's Ian Hout is another wrestler to watch out for.
Absolutely. In a Section 9 Division II champion. He's Roundout Valley's all-time wins leader. And he's wrestled some really tough kids this year. Last time I checked, I think I had him at like 17-3 or something like that on the season. So he's looked for some top competition, and this weekend, no doubt, he'll get it at the Eastern States. Be interesting to see if he can get to the medal stand too at that weight. That's a pretty deep weight once you get past Gizendander. So we'll mention those 2 guys real quick. Let's go to 160. We have Jake Silverstein of Hauppauge as probably the top seed there. He was a finalist at 138 at the Eastern States last year. Here, I believe, Josh, could be Section 9's best chance to get a finalist in Tim Ganuncio. Tim Ganuncio has wrestled the last 2 years, has really put together some really good wrestling. You just look at last year when he's able to go with Ryan Farrell for 6 minutes twice during the season. Ryan Farrell, 2-time state champion from Warwick, now at Ohio State. And, I think Tim Ganuncio flies under the radar a lot in this. And his only loss of the season is to Tyler Barnes, a state champ, at 170. So I think that Tim has a really good shot to make some noise in this tournament this weekend. And I'm going to say he's one of the best guys, chances for Section 9 to make a run to the finals this week.
Yeah, I completely agree because, like you mentioned, you got Jake Slurski at the top, but then after that, it's a pretty open weight class it's pretty up for grabs for the finals. So I also see Ganuncio making the finals here, being Section 9's best shot here.
Yeah, also in the weight class is probably going to be Sean Burgos of Pine Bush. He was a section finalist last year. Sean, again, you mentioned this weight class, another kid that can get to the medal stand possibly. Sean's a really tough wrestler, really solid, strong defensive wrestler. I give him a shot too. And, that's probably the section. You look at Ganuncio and Burgos, those two guys, I mean, they could be on a collision course for the 160 final in Section 9, in the Section 9 championship. So that'll be something to watch. If they're on the same side of the bracket, will they wrestle at all? If they do get knocked off, do they get to the wrestlebacks and wrestle each other? That'd be a good match to watch this weekend if it happens, if it materializes. 170, we just talked about Tyler Barnes, Boston Spa, returning state champion, returning Eastern States Classic champion. I mean, pretty much the favorite at this weight, right, Josh?
Yeah, I'd have to agree on that one. We got two other state finalists in the picture, Paul Callow of Stoughington and Connecticut, I believe, and then Ross McFarland, a D2 finalist from Phoenix.
Yeah, and you look out for Section 9 at 170. Jason Butler from Port Jervis will be in the mix at 170. Jason's had a pretty strong year so far, right, Josh? For Port Jervis.
Yes, I believe he placed at Becca High, and then he only got one other loss really in New York State so far this season.
And we got to mention this is where I think another guy who flies under the radar, Dylan Ross of Aniora. Dylan Ross of Aniora is a returning section champion. He's undefeated this year. He's 30-0. This would be a good tournament for Dylan Ross to gauge where he's at in the state. I think that I don't think he placed last year in the state. I think he might have been a win or two off of placing last year in the state. He's probably D2's best individual wrestler this year, Josh. And I'm interested to see how he does this weekend.
Yeah, I completely agree. He was the one who handed Butler his only New York loss so far this season. And then there's two other former Eastern State placers, Tyler from Burgout Norwich and David Mealy out of North Babylon.
182, we have Sammy Dupre, right?
Yes.
Help me out, Dupre. Sorry, of the famous Dupre family of Hilton. He's a junior. He placed 6th at 170 last year. Couple other guys to watch out for is Jake Logan of New Rochelle. I know he's one of the more talented wrestlers in Section 1 this season. And maybe Jacob Ferrara of Horace Greeley, another Section 1 wrestler. Have to mention Minisink Valley's Joe Yanis here. Joe is 25-0 this season. Josh, with 20 pins. Yeah, 20 pins. I looked it up before we went on the podcast. And he has a couple, I think only maybe one match of his or two have gone 6 minutes this year. And, Joe is looking, he's hungry this year. He's looking for his first section title. He had a nice run on the state tournament last year, fell a little short of a medal. And I got to think that, along with Ganuncio, Yanis is capable of making a run to the finals here.
Yeah, definitely. Pretty open weight class. There's 6 returning placers, but all of like 7th and 8th placing. But it is a pretty open weight class. So, and he was round away from placing last year at the state tournament. So yeah, I believe so too.
Yeah, I mean Joe's had a really good season, and last night at the Eastern States Classic, I think at the Section 9 duels, I apologize. He wrestled Alex Miller of Newburgh in the semifinals. That match went into the third period. Yanis was not happy at all with his performance, I don't think, and then he went out and pinned the Monroe-Woodbury kid pretty early in the first period to get another one of his 20 falls of the season. So we'll see what happens with Joe this weekend. Like you said, Ganuncio, Yanis, those are names to really look out for to make runs to the finals. 195, we have Elijah Rodriguez, a returning champion at this weight from Long Beach. Jonathan Lowe Wantag placed third last year at 160. He's another guy to keep an eye out for. I mean, it's pretty much those two guys here, Josh, or is there anybody else at 195 that catches your eye?
Wyoming Seminary's Austin Cooley is number 12 in the country. I would like to see the matchup between Elijah Rodriguez and Jonathan Lowe, because they're also from the same section, so they'll wrestle a couple more times this season. But, and then a returning 5th place finisher, Joseph Andreessen out of Lancaster.
Yeah, from upstate there. And for Section 9, we're going to highlight Max Capua, a sophomore from Newburgh. Won a couple matches here at Eastern States last year, looking to get on that medal stand for Section 9. Max has had a really good season. He only has, I believe his record now is 27-1 on the season for Max. So he'll be a guy definitely to look at for Section 9. 220, we're going to go to real fast. And a kid from John Jay Cross River. I'm not good. Is it Hale?
You got me too. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not good on the pronunciation. I apologize. He placed third here at 220 last year at the Eastern States. Joe Benedict of South Jefferson Sandy Creek placed fourth at 195. Seems to be a wide open weight. No, Josh? Or?
Yeah, I believe so too. Joe Benedict, like you said, fourth there at 195. He's also a 2-time near state finalist. I think he's finally hungry for a championship victory.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point with Benedict. And for Section 9, it seems maybe David Strauss of Monroe-Woodbury might be Section 9's best entry here at 220 pounds. You have a really young Minnesink Valley 220-pounder freshman Adam Fenner, who last night against Strauss took him to the limit, lost 5-4, really battled. Strauss is a big, build type of football player, has the football player build, strong kid. See if he can pick up a couple wins at that weight this weekend. And then we go to 285. We have Deontay Wilson of Amityville, one of the top-ranked kids in the state and maybe the country, Josh, Deontay Wilson? Or what kind of wrestler is he?
Yeah, he was a junior national finalist. This all-around solid wrestler. He was 220 2 years ago, but come up to 285, like you mentioned, state finals last year, and he was third here last year. He's a pretty solid wrestler, and he'll likely go for the victory here this weekend.
Yeah, he'll be really tough to beat. And then we'll mention Section 9, a couple guys here that can make maybe a run to the semis. Who knows? Andrew Fenner of Minnesink Valley, Preston Haverson of Monroe-Woodbury. They had a battle last night at the Section 9 duels that went into the ultimate tiebreaker. That Andrew Fenner held on for a 3-2 win over Preston. Jeff Quilty was joking with me after that match that they might as well just start in the ultimate tiebreaker round with those two guys if it gets to a section final. Who knows if these guys meet in this tournament again? If they do, it should be a close match. And those are the two best chances at 285, no doubt. Bryce Moore of Valley Central is also entered at that weight for Section 9. Just overall, Josh, what do you think this weekend will be like? It seems like there's a couple matchups that we we'll really look forward to. And then we have some weights where some guys can come out, not nowhere, but can come out and maybe surprise a few people.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited. It's always a fun weekend. Always great wrestling. Even when you hear some people are going to be out, it still ends up impressing. The weekend still ends up turns out pretty good. So pretty excited to see what we do here this weekend.
Yeah, I'm scrolling down Section 9 entries. I just want to mention a couple more kids just for fans to just just be aware of this weekend. One is Goshen senior Frank Fay. He didn't wrestle in Section 9 last year. He's back on the scene this year and is putting together a pretty good season at 138 pounds. Another guy, Josh, you saw Nico Walsh at the Mid-Hudson tournament at 99 pounds for Rondout Valley. He's been pretty impressive this year.
Yeah, he beat senior Christian Procross from Cornwall. And, he's another little guy to watch out for down there at 99.
Only a freshman. Won the section title last year, so let's see what Nico can do at the tournament, and just looking through a couple more kids just to highlight. Maybe we'll highlight a Red Hook kid and Tristan Scheifo. Tristan Scheifo is one of the best 152 pounders in the section, and we gave Ryan Burgos of Monroe-Woodbury. Him and Dylan Earl kind of compete in the same weight class for their team at 113, but Ryan's pretty accomplished. See what he's another guy to mention, right? And maybe for Monroe-Woodbury in this tournament, Josh.
Yeah, he gets kind of he doesn't really get as much news because it's just behind Vespa and Dylan Earl, but yeah, he's just talented as some of these other kids in this tournament. So
yeah, well, be a fun 2 days. It always is. Friday they take it up to the round of 16. Saturday morning the quarterfinals start, and the finals will scheduled to get underway at 4:15 Saturday afternoon for all the fans. It's a little bit of a trip up to SUNY Sullivan, but it's well worth it with all the action you get and all the talent you get on that mat, especially with Wyoming Seminary being up there this year with their A team. And so we'll have it covered for you. I'll have the stories. I'll shoot some video that I'll post later on in the day, and hopefully some video interviews too. And Josh will have all the photos for us. We'll get them up on Instagram. We'll get them up on Twitter. You can follow Josh at Real Josh Conklin on Twitter, and Josh Conklin Photos on Instagram, right, Josh?
That's correct.
Yeah, and for updates on the Eastern States Classic Tournament this weekend, please follow Varsity845 on Twitter. I will be posting updates Friday afternoon and all day Saturday for the wrestling fans out there. Appreciate you joining us today. We'll be back later in the year to preview the Section 9 tournament and also the New York State Championships. Thanks a lot, Josh. Appreciate the time, man.
Thank you.
Yep, we'll close it out. Look forward to the action this weekend, guys, and let's get ready to wrestle.